Good morning. So this is a sight I thought I'd probably never see. I realized, after coming home last night that I've got all three of these early 2000s heavy-duty off-road SUVs sitting at my house. So as a guy that grew up watching Top Gear and all the other review comparison shows, on either YouTube or the BBC growing up, I couldn't not put these three together for a little bit of a comparison. From left to right, we've got the 2002 Range Rover P38 Westminster Edition, solid front rear axles, 4.6 liter V8. We've got the 2004 Toyota Land Cruiser 4.7 100 series with a mild lift, BFGs and ARB on it, and the first gen Cayenne Turbo Porsche. These, back in the day, or almost 15 years ago, were pretty much the ultimate, off-road luxury SUVs of the time. A lot of them were ahead of their time. A lot of them were introducing new technology into the field, and a lot of these trucks really set the bar very high for the models that came after it. So I'm going to go through each of these trucks and kind of run through a little bit of the comparison details and go from there. Probably do a couple little driving tests, run them through high and low gears, because again, all three of these trucks have low range, which kind of sets them apart from the newer models that have kind of subtly priced out those options. They're not so much competing for off-road ability as much these days, but these three were pretty hardcore when they came out, and were very representative of their where they're trying to go as far as their brand loyalty was concerned, and really set the tone for future models. So let's jump right into it. So we're going to start with the Cayenne Turbo. Now this is a bucket list car for me. I always liked it when it came out. The looks are kind of controversial, but I think they've aged very well over the long term. This was coming out at the tail end of the 996, so the broken egg headlights are kind of hit or miss for some people, but I personally love the style of this vehicle, and I think it's really proven itself over time as a reliable rig, honestly. This one is sitting at 168,000 miles. It's on air suspension, which functions perfectly. We'll run through how that operates once I jump in it. It's got great paint. It's got the factory clear bra on it. This is a 450 horsepower twin turbo SUV from the factory, and I would assume it has most of those horses still remaining even after 15 or so years. The power boost over the stock V8 is substantial. You can really feel when those turbos kicks in. This thing absolutely hauls ass. So like I said, it's sitting on air suspension all around. I think the turbo has the red calipers and bigger brakes. This one is, it doesn't have the full off-road package, so these are offered with, at least like the Touareg, a front, rear, and center locking differential. This one only has the rear and center differential. When we first purchased it, we were kind of potentially going to do a mild off-road livery type build with ATs and a mild lift and whatnot, but it was kind of too clean to kind of go from there. But again, this is they're clean trucks. So inside the cabin here, it's typical Porsche. You've got a lot of the early 90s kind of soft touch rubbery dash and console material, kind of like the 996, 997, 911s. These really suffered over the years as far as these sticky plastics. You can kind of see it on the door handles and whatnot, and on the switches and switchgear on these trucks. But other than that, they're pretty solid. You don't have a lot of squeaks or rattles or anything like that. It's all held up. It's got a great sound system. Everything's clear. And these were upgraded in the later versions after, I believe it was 2007 or 8. It got an upgrade, and I believe with the turbo, you got the color infotainment heads-up display. This also has early, let's turn it on real quick. early parking sensors all around, which are actually pretty usable. You know, for what it is, they work fairly well. There's green lights that kind of come on when you're getting too close to an object. I'm trying to think of all the other features. This one's got a trailer brake controller. It was used for towing. Here is your off-road and suspension functions. And we can run through them real quick and show you how they operate. So the car is in park. And all you gotta do is tap it. And I don't know if you can tell, but we are definitely rising up. So we're in terrain level, which is raised, I think it's over 2 inches over the stock ride height. And just like that, we're at the top level. When you're in this level, it's limited to a certain mile per hour, and then it will drop back down. But again, it's very functional, and it all works perfectly still. We'll drop it back down. So in addition to the air suspension, these early Cayennes also had a low range, which was eliminated in the next model in place for a very technical traction control system. This one you can still switch into low range by pressing that button up. You'll see the light blink. You can see it says reduction on. You can click it again. That will lock the differential. There you see right there. And now we are in 4 low. And so yeah, you've got mountains and highway. You can switch it back to go back into 4-wheel drive high. Again, it's got permanent all-wheel drive, so nothing to worry about when you're riding down the highway or encounter any kind of inclement weather. Other than that, it's got heated seats, heated steering wheel, and again, it works really well. The Tiptronic click steering wheel controls are okay. This is a 6-speed, so you know it definitely cruises better at higher RPMs. You know, this thing's pretty terrible on gas. All these SUVs probably get between 15 and 12 miles per gallon, honestly. This one's probably the least fuel efficient of them all, honestly, because you're, you know, packing 450 horsepower. It really kind of takes away your fuel efficiency. And there's the rest of the cabin. Again, it's typical Porsche VW. Again, lots of interesting features. You can see up there on the back, you'll have your proximity sensor lights. It's a little bit of an interesting feature, but it does work well, you know, for the time period. And other than that, that's what I got for the interior of this. Again, there's nothing new, nothing crazy in here, but it's all very nice. It's all very quiet. It's all very Porsche. And when you sit in here, it definitely makes sense. All right, under the hood, it's definitely typical Porsche. It's a very clean, attractive, handsome, I'd even say, engine bay. It looks mean, it's all presented, it's all there. You know, this one, again, it runs super smooth, no knocks. There's a light tick to it for all those miles. But these are pretty robust engines. This one, you know, a lot of these Porsches, you have to watch out for this engine. I mean, it's not a motor mount, but it's a control arm here that kind of prevents the sway of it. Valve cover gaskets, rear prop shaft, and the plastic coolant hoses. Those are the three kind of main issues that really plague these cars as far as reliability goes. But if you've replaced those, like in this one, it's a pretty solid driver. Again, these engines are very robust. The suspension's very robust, and most of the switchgear in the car is pretty good. I think you just saw in the last clip, I raised the suspension up and down. It's at the loading level now, and it does, you know, that's obviously you're not going to be able to run down the road at that level, but if you're loading objects in the back, it makes things a little bit more feasible. All right, gonna do a quick road test with the turbo. Again, this thing drives super tight. It's got newer control arms. Let's hit it real quick. Yeah, it absolutely scoots. You definitely get addicted to the power that comes with this thing. In comparison to the other two, it's absolutely no match. I mean, it tows a lot, and it hauls ass. You know, once you put your foot down on this thing, you can't either, if you're on a test drive, you can't either not buy it or justify anything that's a little bit less. It's kind of yeah, no, it's good. This thing definitely brings a smile factor. Smooth, quiet, refined. It's definitely a winner in my book as far as performance in comparison to the Land Cruiser and the P38. Again, it drinks gas. It is very capable off-road. Again, I wouldn't put it up against, you know, the kind of the solid engineering and the pedigree of the Land Cruiser, but this thing is very capable off-road. You know, it's got all the right stuff. It just executes things a little bit differently. And with the air suspension, you definitely have the ground clearance when you need it. You know what I mean? And you can also bring it back down on your ride home. So yeah, for as far as driving dynamics, this thing definitely wins in comparison to the other two. Power definitely wins. Refinement definitely wins. But you know, reliability, the powertrain is solid, but you're still going to have little quirks here and there. This is independent air suspension, so you know, it's probably, as far as alignment concerns, going to run you a little bit more. But it's a tested and proven platform, and you know, I really like it. Like I said, it definitely feels special behind the wheel, and you're not missing anything.